Let me give you a startling fact. Not one pro-life bill has been passed, regular pro-life substantial bill has been passed in Texas since 2003. I'll repeat that. Not one regular substantial pro-life bill has been passed since 2003. That is 12 years of Republican leadership failure. The Republicans have massive majorities in the House and the Senate, but they haven't passed it. The two bills that were passed recently, the one, sonogram bill, was because it was designated emergency legislation by Governor Rick Perry, and the omnibus bill because Governor Rick Perry again forced two special sessions to get that bill through so that the games that were being played by Republicans in name only could be trumped and stopped. So in the State House, not one of Texas Right to Life's pro-life pieces of priority legislation has had a hearing. Now, some minor bills that address some of the things that we want to see done in a weaker fashion have been heard, and we're hoping that some of these bills will be augmented with stronger legislation in the next few weeks. But I think it has been mentioned that these bills have got to be passed out of the committee by May 11th, go to Calendar's committee, and then be out of the House by the 14th. The clock is ticking. And you know what? The Senate, where we did so much good, where we removed two Republican and name-only senators and changed the whole tenor, they haven't done any better. They've had one hearing on one pro-life bill just yesterday. And it's a great pro-life bill. It's Larry Taylor's insurance bill to remove the funding of abortion from all forms of insurance. But we've had one hearing on one pro-life bill in the Senate. And we are often told that Texas is the most pro-life state in America. Well, we all told that going into the primaries. What a great legislature we have. The fact is, when rated by Americans United for Life, we're not number one. We're actually number 10, and we're falling. We used to be number 4 a few years ago. Things are getting worse. So when people say everything's fine, it's just not. Now here's another statistic to consider. The Senate has passed 400 bills. The House has passed a paltry 200. 600 bills have been passed, but not one pro-life bill. Maybe one gun bill has been passed on both sides, not our issue, but really that's what you always hear about the conservatives, right? Guns and right to life. 600 bills, and when you take the top 2 issues that these men and women will campaign on, they've passed 2 bills out of 600. That's what they really think about the Republican platform. So let me give you a football analogy. NFL has a draft. A lot of times you get a Todd Marinovich or players that look great and they go in and they just don't do the job. Occasionally you get a Brady, low pick, but ends up being phenomenal. Who do you keep? The fact is, you keep the Bradys, you keep the All-Stars, but you have to make cuts. The NFL is about winning. It's not about suiting up and showing up and just being out there. It is a brutal sport where all that matters is winning. And we have to look at passing pro-life legislation or whatever your issue is the same way. In the next 570 days before the start of the 85th session, 120,000 unborn children will be killed. 120,000 are going to be killed in the next 570 plus 30 days unless that building over there does something in the next 35 days. If this is the NFL, we've gone through 75% of our time, we're in the 4th quarter, and we're behind. We should be running up the score. We should be passing as many pieces of pro-life conservative legislation in Texas that the liberals passed in New York and California. You think the liberals pass one liberal piece of legislation in California every 2 years? They are passing everything possible. We should be passing everything possible on the conservative issues in our state every single year. This should be the testing ground where every one of us bring legislation that we want to take up to the Supreme Court to see how much further we can advance the conservative cause. So we have 5 weeks left. We are in the fourth quarter. We are definitely behind. It can still be done. There can be substantial pieces of pro-life legislation passed. But if we don't pass these pieces of legislation, it's time to cut some players. And in fact, it might be time to get rid of the head coach and the upper management. That's what a sports team would do. That's what an army would do. We are dealing with 120,000 children who will die. We are dealing with taxes that will not go down, gun rights will not be secured, liberty that will not be protected, and governments that will grow if something isn't done. So it will not be personal, but if we do not win in the next 5 weeks, it will be incumbent upon us to change the players who are on the field. So, thank you for your time.
Quick question, Jim. Do you have a Tom Landry hat? Because I'd like to see you in a Tom Landry,